She had screamed, but she had not cried. That's what he would remember about this one, he thought. Not the color of her hair or her eyes, not the tilt of her hips or the curve of her lips. None of those things. Not even her name. She had screamed. Screamed to an uncaring star-pocked sky. They all screamed. Everyone screamed. But she had not cried. Not that crying would have helped. He was going to kill her no matter what, so her behavior was moot. And yet it stuck with him. No tears. No weeping. Women always cried. It was their last, best weapon. And it made boyfriends apologize and husbands fold them in their arms. It made Daddy spend the extra money on the prom dress. She screamed. Her screaming was beautiful. But, truth be told, he missed the crying. So Game is a sequel to I Hunt Killers by Barry Lyga. And you should read the first book to make this make sense, because otherwise it doesn't. Here's a rundown of the first book. Jazz Dent lives in a tiny town called Lobo's Nod with his senile grandmother. His mother was presumed dead, and his father, well, he's a serial killer, locked away in a maximum security prison. In this book, another killer is on the loose, known as the Impressionist. Long story short, killer is caught, but Daddy escapes from prison. Now for this book. It's been a couple months since Jazz helped the police catch the Impressionist. Every day Jazz has to deal with feeling guilty, knowing he was responsible for his father's escape. He's responsible for Billy Dent being on the loose and ready to kill. But everyone knows about the Dent kid, and when a determined New York City detective comes knocking at his door asking for help, Jazz can't say no. The Hat Dog Killer has the entire city in panic, and the police are scared. Jazz must fight an internal battle while hunting down a killer in the city, and in an area where the people crowd every inch, his mantra of people are real, people matter doesn't really have an effect, because there's a voice in the back of his head that sounds suspiciously like his dad, that tells him that no one will notice one person missing if Jazz decides to follow in his footsteps. And all Jazz can think of is that somewhere out there, Billy is watching and waiting. And this book is a thriller, mystery, kind of funny book, and it's kind of violent and graphic and serious with some funny moments. Like I said, this book is a sequel, so obviously I've read the first one. I found it the way I normally find my books, by wandering around Barnes & Noble and randomly stumbling upon a cool-looking book cover and happening to like the summary. And that's how I built up my book collection, by pure luck and being bored in a bookstore. But since I loved the first book, I immediately bought the sequel when it came out, and again, I loved it. The way Lyga writes is a perfect mix of humor and what is going on and mixed into one, and that made this book a quick read in a good way. The next book I'm reading has nothing to do with this series, but when the next book comes out, I will definitely read it, because I'm hooked on the series, because I like weird, intense, and somewhat graphic books. And if you like this kind of books, pick this up at your library bookstore. Do it, because it's awesome.